Now, let me make a disclaimer that I don't know why men make content like this, because when men around my age see stuff like this, we get influenced by this, and we think that this is the end all be all to reality itself concerning marriage and getting in relationships. So if we see a video like this that I'm about to show you, and we come to the assumption or the conclusion that all women want is just affection and attention, and they don't want a intimate relationship with somebody, or when we're trying to build a foundation with a woman that is just going to break down and just come and collapse, enjoy the video.
We present to you a Rome Productions.
What's good, everybody? If you're a first time viewer of my content and of this video, like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. So today we're going to be reviewing a video from the book of Alpharonomy. Now, I haven't seen his content in a long time, and there's a reason for that, which I will get into in this video. But for the sake of this video, we're going to go over certain parts of this video, because we're not just going to go all the way through it and then break down certain stuff he said, because there are certain parts and pieces that I want to break down, and I want you to hear what he has to say and then hear my feedback. So in the beginning of the video, he talks about how men do not have the luxury, or us black men don't have the luxury as other demographics have, when it concerns the basis of building a legacy or a foundation concerning our family and concerning passing on something down from generation to generation.
Our lives as men should not be built on whether we have a wife or not, whether we have a family or not. Yes, at some point you may want to leave a legacy, because what's the purpose in building this amazing life and then leaving it to the state to do whatever they want to do with, or giving it to charity? We don't have that luxury. Other nationalities of men do have that luxury, but not us.
He basically concludes that marriage is not beneficial to black men. Now, I don't know how he came to this conclusion that for some reason black men don't have something beneficial going on when it concerns them trying to build a foundation with a black woman. I don't know how he came to this conclusion.
You're in a society that tells you if you don't do that via marriage, then you're wrong. Well, explain that to all the men who were in these divorces who did it via marriage, and now they're still alone, and still, the children are still not in the household with them. Or explain that to the men who do that, and then raise the children to be grown, and then a woman still divorces them, and now ain't no children in the house, and the woman still getting money out of them. There is no benefit to even dealing with the woman. So now you got a woman you're not even dealing with anymore, because the children are grown. And you still got to send her money because she decides she don't want to be with you no more. Or she brings you out on TV and out in public like Will Smith's wife does him, man, and embarrasses him all the time. Or the way Gabrielle Union does Dwayne Wade, man, brings him out in public, man, and shows the whole world that she's in control of the household. Even gets that fool to admit it on national television. See, I want you men to understand, man, that I'm not against relationships. I'm not against being in a committed relationship with a woman. What I'm against is doing something that has no benefit.
And then for him to use people like Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, to use people like Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union, two men who are highly effeminate, and there we can argue that they're a part of the Skittlehead community, but that's another time for another day. We can't use celebrities that are pawns and used against us as examples of why black men shouldn't be in family-oriented relationships. You're telling me as a black man, 22 years old, that I can't try to find, or that I shouldn't even have this in my mind. This shouldn't be a priority for me. I shouldn't get my hopes up when it comes to finding an intimate relationship with a woman, especially a black woman, and building something with her, building a foundation with her, because look at what happened with Will Smith. Look at what happened with Dwayne Wade. Look at what happened with Dr. Dre.
See, if this thing had a benefit, I'd be all for it. If marriage had a benefit, I'd be all for it. If monogamy had a benefit, I'd be all for it. But you'd be hard pressed to tell me any type of benefit that monogamy has. Only thing I've ever seen monogamy do to a man is bring him down.
Something that I'm going to go over in a podcast to come, but something that I hate is that we always like to advertise broken products. We can't be over here talking about we're the most this, that, and the third. We're the original people. We created civilizations. We created literature, mathematics, science, all this type of stuff. We're advertising something good. But then when you get the product, there's glitches. There's broken pieces. You see what I'm saying? It's raggedy. Black people are dysfunctional. The people that you're talking about are dysfunctional. And when you try to promote and advertise yourself as if you are greater than thou, that you're the mother and father of civilizations, and yet you don't show that by example, and you don't even advertise that on your page by example most of the time, how can you expect people to take you seriously? How can you expect for people to look at the product and be like, I want to actually invest in this? I talk about this many times, and I will have this video that I did concerning the manosphere link in the description box below. One of the primary issues that I have with the RedPill community and people who make RedPill content is that they push this narrative to men around my age, between the age of 18 and 24, that you should not even look at or invest your time into trying to get to know a woman and trying to marry her because of divorce. Now, mind you, when you look at these men and they give you this analysis, or they give you this example of men getting messed over because of them being in a relationship with a woman, mind you, they don't have an example for themselves. Most of them were raised up in single parent households. Most of them were raised up in dysfunctional households. So all they know is dysfunction.
Only thing I've ever seen monogamy do, man, is make a man lose focus. Only thing I've ever seen monogamy do, man, is make a man lose power.
And all they advertise is dysfunction. These men never been in a marriage, and if they have, they weren't with the right woman. These men don't have families to give you an example of how a man should be in terms of how to lead a family, how to find a wife, how to build a household, and how to create generational wealth. Now, mind you, other races and other demographics understand this strategy of finding a woman, building a foundation with that woman, and creating generational wealth. It is only here, when you're dealing with red pill content men, that they try to promote to black men not to get in relationships, not to get married, but to just have a rotation of women. How did you come to the conclusion that marriage is not beneficial to men? You're talking about divorce. You're not talking about marriage. You're talking about divorces. You're not talking about marriage. We could deal with marriage at another time, or we could deal with divorces at another time for another day. But when you're dealing with marriage, let's deal with the foundation of marriage. What is the foundation of your marriage built upon? If it's not built on commitment, loyalty, love, business, if it's not built on strategy, ambition, even spirituality, intimacy, if it's not built on those things, then why are y'all in a relationship? Why aren't y'all endorsing and advertising content for men on how to get with a woman and build a foundation with that woman? Now, as I said before, these men don't have an example for you because they never walked that walk. They don't come from that background. So they don't know what it's like to build a family and build generational wealth. They don't know what's that like. I'm not talking about Alpharonomy because I don't know his background. But the content creators that I've been seeing, if you look at their background, some of them got baby mamas. Some of them been divorced twice. Some of them ain't even got children. They just have a rotation of women. They out here hoeing. And when you look at their status and their record of their relationships with women, how can they tell you that marriage isn't beneficial? How can they tell you that you shouldn't look or pursue to find a woman and build a relationship with that woman and then get married and then have children and then create generational wealth? I'm beginning to think that they're pushing something that is going to be destructive in the end for black people.
See, there's no benefit to it because women don't value it.
How is it that you can be organized enough to create content for black men, but then endorse a message that works against black men? How, Sway? Let me know. How is it that you're able enough to be organized and professional enough to create platforms and channels and environments where black men can speak on issues, and then you use that opportunity to endorse a message that works against black men? Telling black men that they shouldn't pursue marriage, and if they do, it shouldn't be with a black woman. I've heard red pill content men say this. You're telling black men to go against their natural counterpart? Does that even make logical sense to you?
You men have to stop believing that women value monogamy and commitment just because they value being a wife. No, there's a status to being a wife, to being able to tell your friends, look at my ring. You see, the first thing they do when they get the ring, they don't say, oh, this man is such an amazing man and I love him so much and I'm so glad he asked me to marry him. You know what they do? They do the little one finger spirit finger and just show the ring.
I was raised up in a household where both of my parents were together, still are together. Both of my grandparents were together. Both of my great-grandparents on both sides, grandparents on both sides were together. Everything wasn't perfect, but they knew how to stay together. What's going on here is that dysfunction is being the primary source and the primary image and the primary example for black people and how black people are and how black people should function. And that because of your dysfunction and your trauma that you haven't gotten over and gotten the necessary therapy for, that now, because of your dysfunction and your experience, that's what we should contribute our life to, and we shouldn't try to be better. We shouldn't try to improve. We shouldn't try to build on relationships or try to get over past trauma or understand that the trauma that we went through or that we experienced isn't the end all be all to life itself. No, this is reality. And it's ironic that you have red pill content men that tell women that, you know, trashy men, this, that, and the third, and they can't find a good man, that they are projecting. But what are you projecting? If you have feminists out here who tell men that they're no good, they're trash, every time they look to and fro, that they find a ain't shit nigga or whatever the case is, how are you any different? Because generally you say that you shouldn't invest your time in trying to marry a woman. You don't get any benefits from building a relationship with a woman. I've heard red pill content men tell men that they are simps for being in a marriage. Just go on the smacker down on men because they were in relationships or they're in marriages and they call them simps. Now mind you, they're living good, they're living well off, have a couple of kids. But how far does it go for you to be having a rotation of women? How far of success will that take you? Why are you endorsing a message that contributes to the downfall of the black race? Because when we're dealing with black people in the black race, I thought that you want to contribute to the success of black men. But if black men aren't reproducing with black women, you won't have black men to push on. Do you get what I'm saying here? This narrative, or to endorse this movement, because they're gonna die old. The movement, the ideology, the philosophy is gonna die old. I strongly believe that if these red pill content men made a 180 and they actually told black men to invest their time in actual black women, genuine feminine black women, and invest in these women and actually marry them, build foundations with them, build families with them. Tell black men not to be dating outside their race, looking elsewhere, because for some reason you're teaching black men that they can't find that within their race. So that by default would be an inferior complex because you're thinking that you can't find function within your household, within your race, within yourself. Teaching men not to get in their emotions all the way, teaching men not to fall for certain tests that women put them through, sure. But when it gets to the point where you're telling men that they're simps for being in a relationship with a woman, being married to a woman, building something intimate with a woman, that's where you lost me. A lot of y'all niggas need therapy. It's just plain and simple. But until next time, I'm Tyrone. Thank you for watching this video. If you like what I say, if you did not like what I say, let your thoughts be known in the comment section below. Alright, until next time, I'm Tyrone. Again, thank you for watching this video. Like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and share this video with other people. Until next time, I'm Tyrone, and I am out.
You know I will provide that good shit for you. You know I will provide that good shit for you. You know I will provide that good shit for you. You know I will provide that. Look like Papa got a brand new bag. Any man who mad, tell him ooh fucking fam too bad. Known to spit with the coldest with no particular motive. I've grown a bit till I've noticed what phony bitches are bogus. I bring doom to any MF, I'm a mad villain. I son niggas, my songs give you a dad feeling. The groovy new emperor, known to move temperatures. Life's a bitch but she keeps sending me nude pics of her. She let it all hang out without shame. Through stories of each previous spouse about fame. Trying to remove a skirt made of doubt and clout games. Then penetrate her until her mouth spit out change. Nevertheless, they can't measure my fresh. No rest till the devil is stressed. Tell him I'm blessed. I'm smiling, staring down a barrel of fear. Any competitor